Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And good morning to you. It's January 22nd, the day after the first day of the impeachment trial of Donald J. Trump. It was a depressing display, not an unexpectedly depressing display. The prosecution, the House, came extraordinarily well prepared. They had video evidence. They'd edited down important pieces of testimony. They had charts. They were so well organized in creating their argument for why it was necessary to hear witnesses. I mean, who ever heard of such a thing? To hear witnesses in the trial. And also to be able to subpoena documents. And one by one, these House managers got up and walked the senators, if in fact they were listening, through the evidence that they did possess, which is enough, clearly, to have charged the president, and is enough if people were open to truth and evidence, enough to convict him. The president's defense was I have to admit, I keep saying, I can't believe I'm still capable of being stunned. It's as though the president's defenders, first of all, were not defending him at all. There was no pushback on evidence. What they came to do was spread falsehoods, lies, the president's absolutely untrue narrative, their untrue narrative. They flat out lied. And I'm sitting there looking and seeing the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court seated behind the president's attorney as he lied through his teeth. And I'm thinking, John Roberts is an intelligent man. I don't know him, so I don't know if he is also an honorable man. But he had to have been listening. He had to have known that the president's defense was simply lying, I guess putting things out so that Fox News would have the sound bites they require to mislead their audience. It was strange because every time the Democrats were up and sort of delineating what had happened, what had occurred, showing the evidence as it exists, being very serious, very lawyerly, this small voice in my head kept saying, well, surely there's some of these Republican senators listening to this who are feeling shame, who are thinking to themselves, I'm uncomfortable. I might need to do something truly uncomfortable and do what I think is the right thing, not the politic thing. I couldn't help but believe as I watched the evidence being so graphically, minutely put out there that these Republicans who, because they weren't allowed to have their cell phones and their iPads or anything else, unless they had earplugs in their ears, would have had to at some point be taking in some of this. And I kept thinking, surely they will see that, of course, these witnesses must be heard. These documents must be part of the process. And yet every time there was a vote, not a one of them moved. And then you wonder again, okay, this is on TV and it's in prime time. How many Americans maybe who don't know or haven't followed might have actually listened to some of it? And if the true jury is the people, we, the people, then maybe the case that was so eloquently and meticulously put forward yesterday by the House managers, maybe it was, if falling on deaf ears in the Senate chamber, making some Americans question maybe what they'd been told or what they'd heard on Fox News, maybe woke up, and that was what I was left with, just hoping. It became, and I had to try to keep myself from turning it off when the president's people came on, because I became so enraged by on the drive-in, I was listening to CNN, and I heard one person refer to what the Republican defenders, the White House's attorneys, did yesterday was gaslighting, which is, yeah, it's true. And what gaslighting is lying, just blatant lying to muddle the listener's head, to get them to believe things that are in fact provably untrue. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Even for them to continue to argue things like, hey, if you didn't do the House is supposed to get the evidence and then bring it over here. You guys didn't get the evidence. You're asking us now to get the evidence. That is gaslighting right there. And Hakeem Jeffries, one of the House managers, did just a wonderful tutorial on why this evidence was important, and also historically how in impeachments past throughout American history, the Senate has called witnesses that had not been available to the House. And he put up a graph of all of these impeachments, presidential and otherwise, and how many witnesses were heard by the Senate. And my gosh, some of them, it was like 100 and this and that. There were witnesses in every single one. And new material that became available during the trial was, of course, allowed in if you were doing a trial as opposed to a Mitch McConnell White House farce. And And then this clear effort to exhaust the senators, to torture them, so that when McConnell wants to wind this up, they'll say, out of their own discomfort, physical discomfort and exhaustion, they will say, yeah, okay, I vote. How do we shorten this thing? I don't like not being able to drink my coffee and have to sit here till 1 a.m. and not talk. I'm the one who talks all the time and people listen. And you got me gagged here? It's dispiriting to see that people who hold these offices of high consequence of power are untrustworthy, are not serious, are looking after their own interests and not the interests that they swore to uphold. They don't want witnesses because witnesses will make their gaslighting more difficult. They don't want witnesses because witnesses are going to be problematic to them. They have not, as the president's defenders clearly showed, they do not intend to push back on the facts of the case. They can't. And they know it. The president has admitted he did the deed. His chief of staff has admitted he did the deed. When President Andrew Johnson was impeached, the impeachment trial lasted 3 months. And there were tons of witnesses. And times when things sort of halted because there was extended periods of, in fact, evidence gathering. Even when Bill Clinton was impeached, he also on 2 counts, perjury and I believe obstruction, right? And it was a much more simple case. The trial lasted 5 weeks, and witnesses were called. McConnell wants this over like that, 2 weeks at the most. No witnesses. Or, if you've been paying attention, he might allow witnesses at the very end of the trial, after the opening arguments, after the senators have had an opportunity to question, not witnesses, to question, I guess, the representatives of either side of the argument. Who ever heard of such absurdity? And again, it is something that I will never be able to totally take in and digest. The just blatant skullduggery and shamelessness of Mitch McConnell and his Republicans. In pursuit of one thing and one thing only, and it is what they worship: power, retention of power. So, I think that it was compelling television. But then I guess I'm whatever the equivalent of a nerd is in the realm of politics. Someone writing for the Times, watching the senators, said they very quickly began to look like a room full of fidgety school students, waiting for the bell to ring. Imagine you're part of such an historic, extraordinarily consequential event, and you can't even be truly present. You just want it to be over. And why would you want it to be over? Why would you be that uncomfortable? Well, probably because somewhere way, way back in their heads there is like little spasms of conscience. The one senator who said he's loving it. I mean, he's loving the quiet, loving the lack of speech, listening to other senators. He's loving not having cell phones around. He's loving it. Is Democratic Senator John Tester of Montana, this unlikely Democratic senator from Montana, who is a farmer. And he was quoted as saying to a New York Times reporter, "Hey, I sit on a tractor for 18 hours a day, and my cell phone doesn't work. This is like heaven to me." I think it's going to be interesting. And not having a cell phone is like, wow, my dream job. Yeah. So, there's this. The news that Bezos, the richest man in the world, or now that he had to split everything with his wife, is he just the second richest man in the world? Who gives a shit? Anyway, Bezos, owner of just about everything, and the Washington Post, turns out the United Nations is now saying they will investigate the fact that Bezos's phone was hacked in 2018 by none other than MBS, Mohammed bin bin Salman, the murderous head of Saudi Arabia. Somebody put out, this kind of a thing is big enough that you need a really good reporter to investigate it. I know somebody who speaks Arabic and sharp investigative reporter would be the perfect person to get to the bottom of this. Oh, wait. MBS had him dismembered with a bone saw. So that is fascinating stuff. And this is the level of, again, skullduggery, malfeasance. And of course, this is a friend of Trump's. And let us remember, this is a pal of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who is known to regularly chat with MBS, the Saudi head, on WhatsApp, which is the way he got. So one can assume if the Saudis, using their own head of state in a WhatsApp little convo with Bezos, put malware in that hacked Bezos' account, do you not think that they have had access to everything in Kushner's phone since day one? Remember how Trump, this is years ago now, remember how Kushner couldn't get a security clearance? He had one, then it was taken away, I think, when John Kelly was there. And then Trump had a fit, and then somehow it was reinstated when everyone knew that there was no way this idiot should have a top security clearance, but the president got it back for him. And you can't help but think that one of the things that those who said this guy does not meet any of the requirements for this clearance knew how he was talking to heads of state on unsecured phones, that these heads of state would be quite willing and able to use Jared Kushner, to manipulate Jared Kushner, and to take essentially all the information on his phone. You wonder why there was that problem with him getting security clearance. I got such a headache today. So, right before the show started, I took some headache meds. It was not Excedrin, and I want to tell you, did you see this bulletin? I'm just putting it out there. It's just the reporter in me. GlaxoSmithKline, who makes Excedrin, has suspended production and distribution of its Excedrin Extra Strength and Excedrin Migraine products. Just saying. It ain't usual that a pharmaceutical company like proactively jumps to get something off the shelves for some reason. And I'm just warning you, if you got that stuff, it's the Excedrin Extra Strength and Excedrin Migraine, don't take it. They're pulling it off the shelves. They say they can't tell when they'll be back on, but it might be back on. Here's what they said. And again, knowing it's coming from a pharmaceutical head, you know, trust but verify doesn't even fit the bill. Here it is. Through routine quality control and assurance measures, we discovered inconsistencies in how we transfer and weigh ingredients for Excedrin Extra Strength and Excedrin Migraine. We do not believe the product poses a safety risk to consumers, but has voluntarily implemented the measure simply as a precaution. Well, yeah, let me tell you again, if they didn't think it was potentially a hazard, they wouldn't do something like this, pull it off the shelves. When's the last time you saw anyone pull stuff off the shelves? Usually somebody dies or a few people die first before these things happen. Says here, We are working hard to resolve the issue as quickly as possible, but at this point in time, do you realize how, never mind. At this point in time, we cannot confirm a definite date as to when the supply will resume. Other Excedrin products are available. Consumers should consult their pharmacist for the most suitable alternative product. So what they seem to be saying is your Excedrin product, extra strength, might actually be different than my Excedrin extra strength. That somehow, what did they say? There are inconsistencies in how we transfer and weigh ingredients. Well, that might mean there's some stuff out there that you wouldn't want to take, okay? I know. I mean, for one, I cannot use Excedrin because I am highly sort of incapable of taking in too much caffeine. And Excedrin products have caffeine in them. And the one time I took Excedrin, I had like the shakes for hours on end. So, I mean, I never go near the stuff. But I just want you to know that I hadn't seen it, and I saw it right before I came on. So, you see all the Chinese people and other people wearing masks all the time because, there's bad stuff out there you don't want to ingest. Would you? I've often thought of wearing one, but the reason I don't is I feel foolish. I feel like a scaredy cat, or like I look stupid or whatever. Is that the problem you would have too? Like, I'm going to be taking a number of airplane flights in the not too distant future. And I was thinking airplanes, man, that is where you really want to wear a mask. And could I? It's not like anybody knows me. So wear the mask, and I really should, right? But it's like I'm embarrassed. It's not the norm in these parts, right? Margaret says, we just need to vote the fucker out. Well, yes, that is certainly true. Chuck writes, other than a minor admonishing of the House managers and White House counsel well after midnight, it seems to me that we could put Chief Justice Roberts to better use. If there is one person in that room that likely knows the most about conducting a fair trial, it is John Roberts. But that's not it, yeah. But his role has been reduced to that of a babysitter. This is not a trial. It is a well-scripted play. Well-scripted on the Democrat side, outrageously scripted on the president's side. If you want to have a trial, says Chuck, ask John Roberts to craft one. Opening arguments, witnesses, evidence. Witnesses, evidence? Have you lost your mind? Have you been watching movies or something? I don't know. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Oh, God. So, is Ryan coming in? Do we see him? Uh-oh. Mr. Dido. Paging Mr. Dido. I think he's coming. No one listens to me out there, I can assure you. I just didn't want to start something up if he was going to pop in. So anyway, I hope you guys are watching this. It is important. And again, it shows the outrageous situation that we are in. God help us. You know, they always say, God bless America. Well, yeah. Man, we could use a little, intervention without a doubt. Okay. He's not coming, huh? If he doesn't come, I'm in trouble. I just want you to know that. Hey, what are you putting on makeup? Jesus, God. He's like, come on. Jesus. You're late.
I realize I have 3 shirts today because I had to change out of my bike shirt.
Well, here, pull your...
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do, and you were calling me over.
All right.
And,
Yeah? Are we hearing him okay?
Am I on? Do I turn it on?
You got it.
Okay.
It's cool.
Okay.
Ryan Deto, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm late.
That's okay. Here we are.
Yeah. What are you talking about? What's up? What's up? What up?
I was talking about... Did you watch much?
Of what?
Jesus! God in heaven!
Oh, the impeachment. No. I was very busy yesterday. I'm sorry. I'm working on this.
It was on until 1 a.m.
I don't have cable.
It's historic.
I don't have cable. Isn't it only on cable or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, probably.
I was also very tired when I got home. I just put on
Let me tell
SVU
you.
and fell asleep.
Jeez. God, we're doomed. We're fucking doomed.
Well, I mean, like, it wasn't like any of the trial yet. It was just like the proceedings and everything, right?
You should have seen what the Democrats did. It was so good.
Okay, tell me.
No.
Okay. I'll read about
it.
I'll read about it.
They pretty much laid out every piece of evidence they had. It was so well done.
Oh, good.
And then Trump's attorneys got up and said things like, you know, and they wouldn't let the Republicans into the skiff, which is a lie.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let it was unbelievable. They just got up there and lied. They did not in any way refute any of the evidence.
Right. I mean, there's no punishment for lying, though, anymore, right? Like, you can lie. It doesn't matter because, like, our media doesn't. We have such a fractured media and such a, you know, especially with Fox News, such a biased media that they're not, there's no, like, arbiter that's going to be like, well, no, that's a lie, and, like, the American people should know, you know? Like, there's just not how it works. Right. It's frustrating.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah. I will say that the one thing, did you see that silly story about Pat Toomey and his candy?
Yes, yes. I want to vomit.
I will say that, like, 1, good candy choices, Pat. I agree. But 2, who cares? 3, that story circulates like every year. Yeah, Pat Toomey has a desk full of candy. That's great.
At the Senate, and it's right where they come in.
He's known as the
and
candy
so
man.
the
Yeah.
candy man.
So all the senators can come in, and if they want a piece of
Yes.
candy, Pat Toomey will always
See,
have
but
candy, and it's Pennsylvania candy. It's great.
It's Pennsylvania
Right.
candy, heavy on the Hershey's.
Right. Yeah. But it's also like, what? Who cares? And like every year, there's always a story about his candy desk, and it's like, why do we care?
It's big this time because it's getting a lot of attention.
Why do we care?
Peeps.
Oh, he had Peeps in there?
They're made in Pennsylvania.
I don't think he had Peeps. No, he didn't have Peeps.
How do you know? Oh, you're an expert.
I read the story.
And what do you say he had?
He had Hershey's with almonds. He had peanut butter cups. He had Utz chips. He had Smiley cookie. Might have had like some like Mallow cup or something. You know, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
We do have great candy in this state, though. We're really good snack state.
Clark bars, I always loved as a kid.
Yeah.
That's from here.
Yeah. They're actually.
But Peeps are from here.
No, I know, but they're terrible. Though.
Well, I know they're terrible, but somebody must like them.
Yeah, that's true.
And then those little. It doesn't matter.
I think they're remaking Clark bars at the Altoona candy place that owns Mallow Cup. They bought the rights, so. Look for the serious stuff here. Sorry.
Shit. All right. So there was this headline in the New York Times today, which I don't know about you, really bothered me. I went to journalism school,
Same.
Here it is. Troubled jet won't return till summer.
Yeah.
How can a jet be troubled?
Well, it's the one that's going through all the crashes, right?
No! It's an inanimate object.
right.
It is incapable of being troubled.
Right.
It's like angry jet,
Yeah. The jet's probably really mad.
unhappy jet.
Right, depressed,
Yeah,
out of work jet.
Anxious jet won't return. Troubled jet, no. It's incorrect.
Do you think that's just a print headline issue because, you only have so much space, and maybe the
No,
online,
and then
maybe the
it
online
jumped to the
story?
next page, and the next headline it can have a troubled jet again.
Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
God, I'm sorry. Oh, I remember.
They could probably just say
I remember
Boeing
once
737
when I was at Channel
return.
4, somebody said when the car hit the unsuspecting, it was like something hit the unsuspecting car.
Yeah.
Well, I am sorry again,
Yeah.
but a car is not suspecting or
Oh,
unsuspecting.
well, that still happens all the time. It's always car hit pedestrian, car hit this. It's not the car, it's the driver. It's the driver, it's the human operating the car. Always.
Well, no, but if you said human,
Unless the car literally doesn't is autonomous or something, or someone rolled out the window or something. I don't know. It's always the driver. Driver hit.
No, well, that makes the picture you get if a driver hit
Yeah.
is of a guy getting out of a car and hitting.
No, because
a pedestrian.
that would just be a human then. It's a driver. That means you're driving the thing while you're hitting somebody. Driver crashed into there was a thing they crashed into a convenience shop the other day and broke the window.
Oh yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That happens a lot.
It happens so much, and
What is
every time I see it, I always go, "Oh no, these bike lanes."
I know. I saw that you tweeted that and said these bike lanes, and I thought,
Yeah, I'm even getting bored of my own tweet
Yeah,
because
enough.
it happens so
Yeah,
much.
well, sure.
But I want people to realize that they always think, "Oh,
how
bike
does
lanes
that
are
happen?
ruined."
I mean, you
Because
realize that
cars are terrible.
Americans get so freaked by that they're so worried about things that are not going to happen to them.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are nothing. And you would think that anxious Americans might say, I'm staying out of these convenience stores.
Right.
Because, you
Or
could
parking lots.
Yeah, you could be standing in one.
Right.
And a car could come
Right.
right through the...
Right.
Yeah.
Which is still really rare.
Right.
Because there's so many stores.
but I'm
right.
saying
No,
that
I
when-
agree that Americans get scared about. Or I mean, even a shooting in a neighborhood. It's
That's
well,
right.
yeah, but that doesn't happen that often. It doesn't happen every day, And this idea, and so it's that same thing. But when it comes to cars running into stores or buildings, people are like, "Oh no, it's fine." But I mean, it's the status quo of car culture.
Well,
Nothing.
that's right.
It's infallible to people.
We wouldn't get back into our cars if we
Right.
allowed the same level of anxiety to permeate our brains about how dangerous, in fact.
We've had huge growth
Right.
in pedestrian deaths by cars over the last 15 years, and
Yes.
everyone's like, no, let's buy bigger and faster cars. It's still so
Not
it's
my car.
Yeah. So
I didn't do it.
It is this weird disconnect that people are like, oh no, but it's not dangerous, but it actually is one of the most dangerous things that we could do.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, so you were so busy,
Yeah.
couldn't watch the
Right.
impeachment.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Is there some story you're working
Yeah,
on?
I'm working on this story about Monessen. Have you read any of the headlines out of Monessen? They've been quite dramatic, but also not that. But it's also Monessen, so it's a small town that not a lot of people are super concerned about. Anyway, there's this political drama between the mayor and the council, and the mayor didn't show up for meetings for 20 months, and then came back after he got council involved, and it's very complicated. And
How many people in Monessen?
7,700.
So who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you spend so much time on something that impacts so few people of your readership?
Well, I think it's that's this is the struggle about writing this story, is because I thought it was something that like somebody should cover. The mayor of Menneson hadn't really talked to a lot of press.
I mean, does this mayor get paid?
I don't know. I have to. This is. I'm not doing my
Well, I'll
research
see if it's
yet.
at
This
a
is what I'm working
voluntary
on.
position. Then
Yeah.
he, you know.
I think they might get like a stipend or something, but it's definitely not like a full-time job. He works full-time doing
Oh,
something
okay,
else.
so
yeah.
yeah,
No,
okay.
it's not a full-time job.
All right.
And anyway, it's just there's been a lot of headlines associated, and the mayor's been kind of getting killed in the headlines, so to speak.
The
and
headlines are in what paper?
Tribune, Review, the Washington County,
Oh, okay,
Westmoreland County papers, and even TV News has come in and did it, because it's very dramatic, to be like, this mayor hasn't shown up for 20 months, and it's like, oh my gosh, there are literally cajillions of mayors in our region. There's probably thousands of mayors actually.
Well, of course
in our,
there are,
in our
because
region.
I
There's
know.
so many municipalities.
Every other person you meet, you could just say, "Well, hi, Your Honor," and chances are you'd be right.
Right.
You know.
And anyway, so but I think it's more. I think the reason why I decided to tackle it, even though it's very complex, is that it's kind of a story about declining towns and how to run them and how to, and the struggles that is this. The mayor of Menneson hasn't won re-election since 1994, so they've had new mayors that have like lost.
Well, because not a mayor cannot fix
Exactly.
the problem.
Right, but it's like they all try, and they all have these ideas, and they have a lot of ambitious ideas. And the current mayor of Menneson is a young guy. He's only like 27, and he also had a lot of ambition. And I think my story is kind of looking at that, and also looking at maybe it was overly ambitious. Maybe made some mistakes, maybe not.
What's his background that he's the mayor of a city at 27?
I think
don't even know.
He studied political science. No, I wrote about him when he won the race. I mean, what's anyone's background for a mayor of a town that big?
I don't know. Ask Pete Buttigieg.
Right. That's a little bit bigger of a town, though.
That's not much.
Yeah, it's like 10 times as big. But yeah. So anyway.
Okay. All right. Pennsylvania candy.
Yeah, baby. Let's get back in.
Little Tony says, I haven't had a Mallow cup in decades.
Get one. Go. They're available.
I think they're made in PA.
They are Altoona. I've been.
To the Mallow Cup factory?
Yeah.
They were so good. I wonder if Toomey had them in his desk. P.S. Never heard that story about Toomey's candy desk.
Oh,
so
darn
that's why
it.
they
No,
were-
I shouldn't have said anything.
He's called the Candy Man.
Yes.
Yes. I also noted that GlaxoSmithKline is pulling Excedrin, 2 big Excedrin products off the shelves.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
No.
All right. Do you have any? Excedrin migraine and Excedrin
No, I don't know.
extra strength.
No.
And
What's wrong with them?
well, they said, we have found out that there is some discrepancy in the transfer and weighing of certain ingredients.
Oh.
Well, so what is that? Yeah, right. So your Excedrin might have a lot more of something than mine.
Got
or
it.
whatever.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't sound
Ugh.
good.
Don't
Does
buy
it? Does that sound good?
No.
Anyway, well, I'm just saying that because Beth has responded to that. Hey, Lynn, just a reminder that most of the active ingredients for our meds are made in China and India. Oh, God.
That makes sense.
Shocking that GlaxoSmithKline would have a problem when flying gets some. Oh. Ah! I was saying, okay, I think
Wait.
you weren't in yet.
Okay.
Okay, so with this, virus now spreading.
Okay.
You
No,
don't know
I
about
don't
the
even.
virus?
No. Well, I'm a local reporter.
You don't know about the virus that started in China?
No.
Has
There's
now
so many
jumped
of these virus stories. This happens every year.
Okay,
like there's
so-
this huge virus scare and nothing happens,
Okay.
Like
Well, there are dead people.
Well,
they would say
right,
something has
right,
happened.
right.
Okay, and it's whatever.
not Americans though.
the World Health Organization is meeting, this
Yeah.
and that, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to be on airplanes, and I was thinking, I should wear,
Oh, sure.
yeah, but I won't.
You won't.
You know why?
Why?
Because I'd feel stupid.
I mean,
Is
to be
that
honest,
why would you wear them?
I mean,
wouldn't you
honestly-
feel like an idiot?
yeah. Well, also,
But
I
the
feel like I
Chinese
couldn't
do it all the
breathe. I
time.
feel like I couldn't breathe.
Well, it's not true. There's permeable. I mean,
Not that, though. That's the whole idea is that's supposed to be not that permeable.
that's right.
I'm
So
kind of
how come you
claustrophobic.
can
I don't
ma-
really
anyway,
like anything over my mouth. It really bothers me. It's like I feel like I can't breathe, so... Yeah, it's like a weird thing. That's just for me.
Okay,
Not that
okay.
you couldn't wear the mask. But honestly, everyone probably should wear the masks because
There you go.
there's a lot of people in airports and they're transferring a
No,
lot
if you
of
want to get
crap.
sick,
Right.
go on an airplane.
Right.
Okay, so what Beth says to that is, when flying, get some Neosporin gel and coat the inside of your nostrils with it. Well, that makes some sense, I guess. Neosporin is an
Yeah, it'll like capture the...
it'll
Yeah.
kill anything
Got it.
that you breathe in. This is a great way to kill some germs of the recycled air in the plane and is better for vanity than a mask.
I would 100 kajillion% rather wear a mask and put gel in my nose. Sorry. That's
Well, it's not gel. Neosporin's like a cream.
even worse.
No, because a cream you could sort of like, of course, putting it in you'd look like you were picking your nose, but you
Well,
put it
yeah,
up
you could
in-
do that discreetly somewhere.
Oh yeah,
The bathroom or somewhere.
people always, where people pick their nose. They pick their nose sitting in their cars, right?
Yeah, I
yeah,
pick it everywhere. Doesn't matter. Do it wherever. But I feel like I would then suck up some of the gel into my sinuses, and then we get stuck in there. It would just be
So it would mean your sinuses had a little barrier of
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
antibiotic.
Yeah. I'm not gonna wear the mask either, though. Not doing anything. I will say that, I think a smart thing that I don't always do, but you should, is if you have like a antibacterial wipe when you get on the plane.
Oh, wipe down everything.
Wipe down everything that you're going to be touching, because
Yeah.
that's probably the best way to get sick. Is that you're going to touch the little thing, you're going to touch the magazine, you're going to do all that stuff.
Oh, never touch the magazine.
Yeah. Oh, I always do. I always look at the map. I love looking at the map in the back.
It's the same damn map. It's
I know,
a world.
but maps are great. This is how I retain my geography knowledge, is constantly looking at maps.
Have you ever been on a plane that's like going a long way that has a screen in front of you? And
They all have those now.
It has a little plane
Yeah, I love
showing
that.
you how
Love
far
it.
you've gone.
Oh, I love those. Especially when we're like flying over the desert and you can you can see everything, because it's like totally empty. And then one time I saw a solar farm. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this giant
Yeah.
mirror, and like sometimes it gets in your eye a little bit, and you're like, "Whoa, what's that?" And you can see the canyons and everything. It's fantastic.
Well, I agree. When you fly to the West Coast, looking down at,
Yeah.
wow, the expanse.
Yes. Yeah. Just
The
of nothing.
expanse.
And this is every time I think about this too.
I know, and they've got senatorial representation. The same, it is so true.
Not
And
only
by
that, the whole overpopulation garbage that keeps getting thrown around. Overpopulation. It's like this country is like totally empty. Like there's so much of it that's
I
totally
know.
empty. And obviously the desert is like empty for good reason. There's no water. There's no plants, so you can't really live there. But like Montana, Wyoming, all these states that has like abundance of water and abundance of vegetation, people are like, oh no, this country's full. It's like, give me a fucking break. Like it's not at all.
Somebody pointed out that, this is back to the impeachment trial, which
Yeah.
we're too busy to watch.
Yeah, following closely.
Too tired to watch. Right. I recommend you tune it in tonight.
Okay.
Seriously. I mean, just as a
My girlfriend and I are
citizen.
going, no, we're going to trivia tonight.
Oh, for God's sake. Our country's doomed.
You can't blame me for not paying attention to the news and politics and everything. But I already know what's going to happen. This is the problem. Is that we do not have like the Senate that I think a lot of Americans
that's what
envisioned that we would have. I know
yeah.
it's going to be a sham.
Okay,
I know
okay,
everyone's
all
going to
right.
vote against it.
Well,
Like,
this is what. So they came up.
also,
Schumer,
the polls haven't changed
yeah.
at all.
Schumer kept putting in these amendments
Yeah.
to the rules. Amendments like, and we will subpoena papers from the OMB.
Yeah.
Voted down.
Right.
And we would like witness.
Yeah, party lines voted
No,
down.
no,
I know,
no, no.
and that's what it's going to be.
But somebody pointed out So essentially what they voted down is having documentation and
Yeah.
and documentation for a trial.
Yeah.
Right? No, can't have it.
Right.
So it was pointed out that the 53, I think it is, senators who
Republicans.
prevailed, right, represent a minority of Americans.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Well, I just want to drive that home.
Yeah. Well, the
So-
Senate is totally
Yeah, I know.
undemocratic. It's BS.
Totally. So it's those guys in not actually. Montana has a Democratic senator.
One
Tester.
Democrat
Yeah,
and one, yeah. Wyoming
But,
has two. Idaho has two Republicans.
Yeah, all
Utah,
of those big, huge, unpopulated states with
the Dakotas. Why do we have two Dakotas? Give me a effing break.
Right. While California, New York
New Jersey.
get two.
Yeah.
And obviously then have no power in the Senate.
Right.
So the Senate is sort of like the Electoral College.
Not sort of. It is like that.
Well, then why do we have? I mean, this is
Well,
we
do you know
pretend that
yeah.
this is in any way a democratic republic.
Oh, well, because our country and the media, CNN, wants to continue this idea that even though the senators have changed and have become more partisan and all these other things, they still want to pretend like, well, no, this system is still good and it's still doing what it should. And like, it's funny because there was a really good article written a while ago that was about when Republicans added U.S. states following the Emancipation Proclamation. So they ended slavery, and they were smart. They knew that the only way to make sure that it wasn't rolled back, basically, was to add Republican senators to the thing, and that's why you have two Dakotas, and that's why you had Nevada, and that's why you had all these things. And they added Nevada when it was added had 7,000 people.
Why are they always outplaying us? Even back then, in the 19th
They were the good guys
century.
back then. Let's just say that they were the ones that ended slavery. So let's give them a little credit. No, but I'm just saying it's like I think there's a perfect that's a perfect parallel for what the Democrats should do if they get in power, is that they should add D.C. as a state. Everyone in America believes that D.C. should be a state. It's got more.
What do you mean everybody in America thinks D.C. should be a state?
It polls well. The majority of Americans believe that
I bet
DC
Rhode
should be a
Island
state.
is the only place that wants D.C. as a state, because then it won't be the smallest state.
Well,
Is
yeah,
DC
it would be smallest area, right?
Yeah.
It would be the smallest
I mean,
area, but it has more people than Wyoming. You know,
Amazing.
and it's growing really fast.
Yeah, but those people are overwhelmingly black, and the Wyoming
Right.
people are
You can't have
overwhelmingly white.
You can't have an overwhelmingly black. Actually, it's not overwhelmingly black anymore. It's
All right.
actually it's got more white people than black people. It's because it's been gentrified a lot. But anyway.
All right, they pushed all the black people out. The black people are floating around in the Potomac. or
Right, or moving to Baltimore or something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but I just think yes, the Senate is undemocratic, and that's why it's hard to watch, because it's oh well, you know that all these Republicans are just gonna fall in line. You know that there's not gonna be a serious take. The real gut of the impeachment was getting the Democrats aligned to say we're impeaching him, is getting Connor Lambs to say we're impeaching him. That was the hard part, and I think now we'll go through this trial. The Republicans are just gonna fall in line. Maybe a few of them. They'll probably sacrifice a few senators to be well, we want to, we want them to still try to maintain their seats. So maybe Cory Gardner votes against it. But it's all fucking political at this point. It's not an actual they actually really care. But they should add D.C. as a state, and Puerto Rico and Guam
damn it.
Guam.
Listen.
Add them all. Split up California too. Fuck it.
Yeah.
As a Californian, split it up. But not that stupid plan that they always pitch, where it's some rich dude who just wants his own little fiefdom or something, or giving the really conservative Californians their own weird state,
right,
that wouldn't function on its own, but they just want it because so that they can say, oh, we have a Republican governor now or something
I have troubling information that Gigi has sent. A face mask is not going to protect you.
Good, because I wasn't going to wear one. Because I look like a dum-dum.
Certain respirators will, but face masks help to prevent the spread of illness from those who are ill.
Oh, so if you're sick, you should
ill.
put one on. See, that makes sense because it blocks.
Yeah. And then she shoots down Beth. She says,
Good, because I'm cream in my nose. The old cream nose.
yeah, Gigi says, forget it. Just take your, it's
I'll
a
just-
crapshoot out there. She says,
I'll just take an ether after that or whatever. Or a tonic. I'll have a tonic.
a tonic. Neosporin in the nostrils will not prevent viruses from entering your body because Neosporin is an antibacterial
Bacterial,
treatment
right,
and an antiviral. And then she says, use some wipes to clean your area in the plane, wash your hands a lot, and have fun.
I was right. Heyo. Get drunk. If you drink. Actually, I don't like drinking on planes because I get motion sickness, and then I'm just like, if I have one beer, I'm just like, oh God. And I'm like, I just feel terrible.
Aww.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody the other day who gets motion sickness if she's watching like a movie of a boat, and
I get motion sickness from those rides at theme parks where it's like you
heck
watching
yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
but you're also moving and it's moving.
Yeah.
And I almost threw up on the last one. I was like,
Me
oh,
too.
Yeah.
And I was
like,
at
who likes this?
Kennywood, and my son was like 6, and I have not been.
So
on,
1948.
Yeah. That's when I was born. So it was in the 90s.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
So he talked me into it, and I said, honey, I don't really want. He says, Mom, it's just, you're just going around. It's no big deal. So I got it. I was screaming bloody murder. There was no one else
What
on
was
that
the ride?
ride.
What was the ride? I
I
can't do
don't
it.
know. You get in it, and it just goes.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
It's not a big deal,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, but I just kept feeling like I was going to fly out,
Yeah.
because of and I was scared, and when I was rubbery legged, and that was like we had just gotten there, and I spent the rest of the time like,
I used to make fun of my dad when we would go to theme parks. I'd be like, Dad, let's go on this ride. And you're a little kid, like you can do anything, like invincible. And he was like, I don't know, I don't think I can. I think it's gonna make me sick. And I'm like, oh, what a wuss, And then I was I don't know, like 20, 28 or something like that. I guess whenever we started to turn, went to a theme park, and I'm like, oh,
I get it.
oh
Sorry,
gosh,
Dad.
I feel awful.
So-
My dad was older than me when I was asking him that.
I would know more. So I look at people who go on roller coasters and all those. I look at you. I think, what is it that they're equipped differently? Because I couldn't do that.
It's like the same people who can become fighter pilots and stuff.
Yeah.
if they sent me to space camp or whatever or thing, it'd be like vomiting all the time.
Yeah, and they carry you out feet first.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge, this massive headache of just oh my gosh, I need to spend 12 hours in a dark room with no sound and before I'm ready to do
So do you hear
anything.
about that? What is it? I think a Chinese gazillionaire who's bought a ride on the space shuttle or something.
Okay.
But he needs, he's looking for a woman to keep him company on it.
Oh man, this makes me so mad. All of this space stuff, all of this Elon Musk stuff,
I know.
it makes me so mad.
I know, of course. So I was thinking, hey, I should go with him. I could puke on him from
Right,
from
yeah.
liftoff all the way.
Is he
through
looking
the
for
entire-
an old white Jewish woman from
I kind of doubt it. An old white Jewish woman. Oh, there was this fascinating article I saw today about a Jewish woman who survived the Holocaust as a child,
Okay.
comes to Israel and falls in love with this Palestinian worker.
Oh my gosh, a love story.
Yeah, and she marries him.
Whoa.
And she is now the matriarch of a huge Arab family.
Wow.
Yeah, in Israel.
Wow. She a Zionist?
I don't think so.
I would think so. That would be kind of weird.
But she has informed the people who love her that the Holocaust is very real, and she warns them, look, with all the Islamophobia happening
Right.
here, and she didn't convert until her sons got to an age where she thought, they're going to have to serve in the Israeli military.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's mandatory
she
there.
then converted.
So, the old it's like a bone spur thing. Like
I'm getting them out. I don't.
Wait,
what?
is she Islamic now or is she Christian?
No, she's a Muslim.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, not all Palestinians are. I mean,
She's
there's a lot of. I
so-
mean, there's some Palestinian Christians, right? Yeah.
Oh, there's lots.
Yeah,
of
lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. let's get real in the deep Middle Eastern politics.
Last time I was in Israel, I was freaked out. Oh God, we're out of time. That like the percentage of Arabs at Hebrew University is like half the school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's this idea that like Israeli Arabs are not. No, it's just there's a
That's
lot
really
more
interesting.
integration
Right.
than you think.
Right.
And this is one the media does not get right.
Totally.
And there was a Arab Israeli, I still have his card, journalist who I have seen on CNN on a few occasions. And I spoke with him, and he just thinks the media is outrageous in the way they have created
a rift. Yeah.
that needn't have existed. And
It's fun.
He says it just.
I think the media does the same thing here, honestly.
no, that's
like, yeah,
right.
they just
So what they have done
they
is-
exploit rifts. It's just like it's like the Bernie Warren thing. It's like they exploit rifts.
Look, we can get these
Right.
two people who are already having a bit of a problem,
And then at the same
and
time-
we can exacerbate it.
And at the same time, they'll have pundits on that'll go like, "Why is the country so divided?" It's like, look in the fucking mirror.
Jesus. Okay, we're out of time. We are beyond out of time.
Yes.
Okay, he's not going to watch. He's going to go to trivia night. So
Yeah.
just-
Put a little nose cream.
But Monessen, is going to get a lot of his attention. I just want you
right.
to know. And the 27-year-old mayor who doesn't do the job and is going to get voted out. That's
more complex than that.
Let's just say that we know what's important around here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.